What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. And man, I tell you what, I had a lot of fun doing last week's mock draft. And here we are once again on the PFF mock draft simulator a week later. We're going to do this again. I want to just reiterate as I'm getting it set up here that this is not like a predictive, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm just playing around with this at this point. It is still early in December. I'm not going to release Mock Draft 1.0 where I'm genuinely trying to predict what will happen. I'm going to release that until late January, maybe even not even until Super Bowl time, just because there's no point. Without the orders, even before free agency, it's hard to get these things totally right. So I'm just going to have some fun with this one. Make some decisions that maybe will surprise some people while also making some picks that I think are sort of chalk. And we're going to start the draft. Pick number one, and also no trades. I'm not doing trades. I don't pay for the premium subscription. I'll be upfront about that. So I can't do trades. Wouldn't do them anyways because you can't predict that stuff. But first overall pick is the Las Vegas Raiders right now, it looks like. Although, yep, I got Raiders picking at number one, and number one, Shedeur Sanders. So whoever picks number one between the Giants and the Raiders, I think Shedeur Sanders is the pick. I think his accuracy, his ability to process the game is just better than Cam Ward. And those are the two guys that you're realistically probably looking at taking with the first overall pick. Shedeur Sanders brings some moxie to the position. I like him as a prospect. Which then leaves the Giants with, the silver medal here. And that's pretty damn good silver medal. And Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. The numbers he's put up this year are just outrageous. 4,100 yards, 36 touchdowns to 7 interceptions in 12 games. He's been nothing short of elite all season. And you get to see some just awesome plays out of him. He's nothing if not a playmaker. And honestly, behind that offensive line, it's not like he's had a great offensive line at Miami, so he's going to play behind an also pretty poor offensive line in New York. So he's used to that. He's ready for that challenge, so I like that. Pick number 3, we've got the New England Patriots up here, and I am going to go ahead and give them Travis Hunter. Now, this is a team that could use a wide receiver, could use a corner, just a DB. Travis Hunter does both at a very high level. I don't know if I'd give him the Heisman over Ashton Jeanty. I don't know. But he's fantastic at what he does. He is the best player in this draft class overall, in my opinion. Very high on Travis Hunter. I need him to pick a position and just play that one, though. Like, make him a DB. He's the best. If he's full-time DB, he's the best DB in the class. If he's a full-time wide receiver, I think he's probably the best wide receiver in the class. But if you're going to gas him playing both, he's not going to be nearly as effective. So I think that the Patriots will have to stick to one with a little package here and there on the other side of it. But Travis Hunter at pick 3 is a great pick for the Patriots. They get the best player in the entire draft. Pick number 4, I'm going to stick with this one that I made last week. It's Abdul Carter off the edge for Penn State. He is a freak, man. Elite this season, 11 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, 31 hurries. After they moved him from more of an off-ball linebacker that he played last year to a pure edge rusher, he's been fantastic. I mean, look, 500 snaps last year off the ball, 500 snaps rushing the passer this year. Production is sky high. He can do everything for you on defense. That's someone that you want on your defense. That's someone you build around. And after getting rid of Brian Burns and all of your pieces over the last few years, I think he's a great pick. Moving on to the Jaguars at pick number 5, who have been sitting at pick 1 for a long time. They still desperately need defensive backs. And fortunately for them, there's a really good one right here in Will Johnson. I think pound for pound right now, since Travis Hunter does play both positions, I think Will Johnson's the best corner in the class. He's got fantastic size for the position at 6'2". 2 interceptions, no touch. He's had 6 picks, no touchdowns allowed in the last 2 years, guys. He hasn't had a touchdown thrown on him in 2 seasons, and he's picked off 6 passes. People aren't even targeting him. 26 targets against him. They're not even bothering to throw it his way. That's fantastic. Imagine if they did, the stats he'd put up would be outrageous. Tennessee Titans on the clock here. I've got a surprise, I think. I think a few picks coming up here, a bit of a surprise. Again, I'm just having fun, right? This isn't predictive. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think of these picks for your teams. And Titans, I'm going to start with you guys here. Now, I'm not going Tedero McMillan. You guys need a wide receiver. I'm going to go with Luther Burden. I think the Titans have swung and missed at the big receiver. DeAndre Hopkins wasn't great there. Treylon Burks wasn't great there. A.J. Brown was really good there, but you got rid of him. Luther Burden is built for the more modern NFL. Smaller, but just so shifty. He's a separator. He's not a go up and get it guy. He will get open for you. That's what you need for Will Levis, who needs to be able to process the game just that much better. And if you have a receiver who gets open like Luther Burden gets open, I love that pick. And I'm just a little gun shy on the big receivers. The big receivers haven't always panned out. Look at the top receivers in the league. None of them are Tedero McMillan size. I mean, I think he's bigger than Devontae Adams. I'd have to look, but he's massive. Massive guy, and that hasn't panned out in the NFL. Not saying he can't, because he's an absolute unicorn. He's PFF's number 2 player in the draft. I love Tetairoa McMillan, but I want to give the Titans someone here who can get open for them, and that is what Luther Burden does. All right, I got an interesting one. Jets fans, you know I don't like your team. I hate the Jets. They're probably my least favorite team in the entire NFL as a Dolphins fan. I don't know why. I just will always dislike the Jets. But I think that the Jets have watched what the Bills did. And the Bills took a quarterback that people were like, this guy's not a first rounder. He's not accurate. He's got a rocket arm and he's an athlete. Whatever. He can't hit the broadside of a barn. And now look at him. He's probably going to win the MVP this year. I think we have a shock pick here. If Drew Allar comes out, what if the Jets take him? What if the Jets see what the Bills did with someone with this size? The Bills took Josh Allen, who is a little smaller, I think, than Drew Allar is listed here. 6'5", 235. They're about the same size. They're both freakish athletes. No, he doesn't have the statistics to back up crazy. Neither did Josh Allen. And I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but I think you got to take a shot. Rodgers is in the future. You know that. And the quarterback position is the most important position. Get Drew Allar, hire an offensive-minded head coach, and see what you can do. Because at this point, why not? You've already missed the playoffs for 14 straight seasons. Why not shoot for the freaking moon? Why not buy that lottery ticket? You may as well, because what you're doing now and have been doing for the last decade and a half isn't working. So I got Drew Allar going to the Jets here. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Jets fans, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Cleveland, I'm standing by the fact that they need an offensive lineman. I'm going to give them the best one on the board, and that's Will Campbell. Just so technical. Very, very good offensive lineman. 1 sack allowed this year, none last year, and 500 pass. I mean, in the last 1,000 pass blocking attempts, he's allowed 1 sack and 9 quarterback hits. That's crazy. He's so damn good. Can stick at tackle. I think he can stick at tackle. I know he's got a little shorter of arms. He's got these little T-Rex arms. No, I'm just kidding. But I like Will Campbell a ton, and you can play him anywhere on the offensive line, and he'll start for you, and he will be excellent day one. Chicago Bears on the clock. Another one of my favorite picks to make in these mock drafts, although it causes me pain, is Kelvin Banks Jr. Bears need interior offensive linemen. You can't convince me otherwise. And this guy can play tackle. Maybe you're sick of Braxton Jones. You want to move on from him? Kelvin Banks is your guy. Kelvin Banks is a do-it-all offensive lineman. Look at these numbers: 2 sacks allowed in the last 1,000 pass block snaps. This guy's awesome. This guy's just straight up awesome. Great size. Big fan of Kelvin Banks, man. New Orleans on the clock. Mason Graham continues to fall to them, and I messed up. Shoot. All right. Bengals on the clock. I have it backwards on here, so I'm going to reverse them. Bear with me here. The Bengals are on the list I made. They were picking at 11, and on here they're picking at 10, so that's why I got confused. These are the picks. It's Mason Graham at pick 10 to the Saints, and Tetairoa McMillan to the Bengals. Bengals fans, would you guys be fired up to bring in Tetairoa McMillan and say, sorry, T. Higgins, you go get your bag somewhere else. Go get him. We're going to bring in this guy to go opposite Jamar Chase. I love this pick. A lot of people love going with Ashton Jeanty here. I'm saying, no. If I can get Tetairoa McMillan with the 11th pick in the draft and I'm the Bengals, you line him up with Joe Burrow. Again, just feed into the strength. Build your strength even into more of a strength. Your defense is going to suck no matter what. I'm sorry. It is. It's going to be bad next year too. Might as well just make that offense freaking unstoppable. And you do that with someone like Tetairoa McMillan. And then Mason Graham to the Saints. He just gives them a building block on the defensive side of the ball. Probably, arguably the best defensive player in the class. I think not very arguable. He's a do-it-all player. You line him up all over the defensive line and he'll cause problems. Just a hard-nosed guy that I think the Saints are going to like. Just, I don't know. I like that fit. I like that fit a lot. Dallas on the clock here. Now, this pick has changed. Ashton Jeanty's right here, and that makes a ton of sense. But DeMarvion Overshown was playing excellent football for the Cowboys this year. And then he goes and tears every ligament in his knee. You've got to have somebody to play that position next year. I really like Jalen Walker to do that. I think it's a little early for him. I'm not the biggest Jalen Walker guy, but he's all over the field. He does a little bit of everything for that Georgia defense. He's a freak athlete, and you need more of those guys, especially for next season. The Cowboys are in a position where they still are trying to compete, and they're going to try and compete next year. You need somebody to play middle linebacker. Eric Kendricks is getting older. If you bring back Mike Zimmer. If you don't bring back Mike Zimmer, you're probably not going to bring back Eric Kendricks. You need a middle linebacker. You can play Jalen Walker there. He's played all over. He plays in the box. He plays on the defensive line. He's played in the slot for 60 snaps, for God's sake. He can do it all. He's a Swiss Army knife defender. I like Jalen Walker here, and he fills a new need that you didn't know you had until DeMarvion Overshown got hurt. Pick 13 for Miami. I'm going with Malachi Starks again. Javon Holland's kind of stunk this year. Like, sadly, I loved me Javon Holland. Almost bought a Javon Holland jersey. Loved it when we drafted him in the second round. I'm like, this guy's a monster. And he has been. Except his rookie year, maybe his second year, have been his best years by a lot. And he's going to be paid. I think he's going to get paid a ton of money this offseason. I don't know if I'm wanting to do it, especially if I can get somebody who can give me that level of production that he's given just this year. I like Malachi Starks. I like him to Miami. I think that'd be a fun one for Miami to make that move. Indy, last week I had them going with Colston Loveland out of Michigan. I'm staying at that position. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to go Tyler Warren this time. Look at this. 90.9 PFF grade. He does everything. I watched that Penn State game against Oregon. Every time Drew Allar dropped back, he was looking for Tyler Warren. Every single time. He was like, where's Tyler Warren? Where's Tyler Warren? And that just shows me how good this guy is. And seeing him catch the ball and his ability after the catch, he's awesome. You can't go wrong with either tight end. He's older than Colston Loveland. Maybe doesn't have the upside, but damn, 88 catches this year on 112 targets out of the tight end position. Plays all over the place, and he's 6'6", 260, and he's a freak athlete. I am starting to raise Tyler Warren up my board, folks. Falcons on the clock here. Worst kept secret in all of the NFL is that they need a pass rusher. And yeah, I know Nick Scorton's here, and there's a bunch of them. I'm staying with my boy. I will continue to be a James Pierce Jr. truther. I don't care what you guys say. This guy's a freak. 13 sacks last year, 11 hits, 28 QB hurries, 40 QB hurries this year. You know what that tells me? The quarterback's just getting rid of the ball just before he can get there this year, so the sacks aren't there. Give me more hurries than sacks every single time, because a hurry forces the quarterback to get rid of the ball fast. Sometimes the quarterbacks you play hold the ball just a smidge longer, so you get those sacks. But James Pierce is still getting home at excellent rates. He's still got excellent size for the position. He will be a monster. He will be a monster. James Pierce Jr. to the Falcons. I will continue to bang this drum all offseason. I don't care. Arizona, offensive lineman here. And I'm another guy whose drum I will continue to be like, this is my guy. This is my guy. Wyatt Milam, offensive lineman out of West Virginia. Willing to play all 5 of the offensive line positions. He's this year's Graham Barton, and they need it. They need it badly. I think you could stick him out at tackle, and he'll be your left tackle for the future. He has been excellent this year. 700 snaps, 356 pass block snaps, 0 sacks. Last year, pass block snaps, 337, 0 sacks. He has not allowed a sack in 3 freaking years. He's a brick wall. He's a brick wall. Give me Wyatt Milam, man. I would love it if the Dolphins decided to take him. Little offensive line run here as we've got the 49ers. Another fit I really like is Josh Simmons to them out of Ohio State. I think he only falls again because of that injury that he sustained this year. Very, very good, man. I mean, out of all of these pass block snaps, limited sacks allowed. A stud left tackle. You've got to plan for the days that Trent Williams is gone. He's been gone for them this year, and their offensive line has suffered. So I think you fill that position with Josh Simmons, give him a year to learn the position, maybe even stick him at guard for the year. Hell, why not? And then kick him out to tackle when Trent Williams is done, and there you go. You're set for the next 10 years. LA Rams on the clock here at pick 18. Another offensive lineman goes. They really need a tackle. Ariante Ursary is that tackle. Now, how well does he fit in McVay offense? I don't know. He is huge. This man is huge. 6'6", 330 pounds. I always think he's bigger than he actually is. I don't. Someone let me know in the comments if that's actual measurements. I swear this guy is like 360. I swear he is. He is huge. Excellent offensive lineman. Big Ten offensive lineman of the year this year, and there are some good offensive linemen in the Big Ten. As you all know, that's what they do, is good offensive linemen. He was the best one in the entire Big Ten. Rams would love to get someone like that to play on the tackle position for them where they have been hurting. Tampa Bay on the clock here. Need an edge rusher. I got one for you. His name's Nick Scorton. This is a guy that could go as early as pick 13 or 12 to Dallas. Pick 12 to Dallas if they wanted him. I think Nick Scorton can play all over that defensive line with his size at 6'4", 285. You can line him up over guard, over center. He'll use his quickness to beat him, and he's strong enough to take on the tackles. He's the same size as a lot of these. He's a little lighter in some of these tackles, but man, you put on 10 pounds of muscle on this kid, and he could be a freak. He could be a real problem out of Texas A&M. Nick Scorton's got some awesome tape. I recommend you guys check out some of his highlights because he's fantastic. Washington on the clock. I've got them going with another edge rusher out of Georgia. I've got them taking Mykel Williams here. No, the production doesn't exactly match this pick, right? You look at his stats and it's like, Everybody eats in that Georgia defense. There's no one star on that Georgia defense. Everybody gets theirs. He's a freak athlete that's going to test off the charts. This is somebody that we're going to look back on this mock draft and you're going to be like, yeah, right, man. He's never going to fall to 20. No way can they get him this late in the first round. He's a top 10 pick because his combine and his pro day, he is going to test off the freaking charts. Mykel Williams right now at pick 20 seems like maybe a reach. It's going to be a steal in no time. I love this pick to the Chargers. I loved it when I made it. You know Jim Harbaugh wants his boy. Colston Loveland. I know they need D linemen and there's some good edge rushers available, but he gets a chance to get his boy for his new team. And he knows how good Colston Loveland is. He's a monster. 6'5", 245, not even 21 years old yet. He's put up very solid stats on offenses that are strictly run. He's more of the Brock Bowers type. Look at where he lines up. In line, slot, all over the place. He can play all over and just be a weapon. And you cannot have enough weapons over there when all you have is Ladd McConkey. You need more. Ladd McConkey's been great this year. Get him a Colston Loveland. Get him a safety blanket tight end. And he'll go crazy with him. I love that pick. Denver on the clock. The fall stops here. I've got Denver going Ashton Jeanty. I know that's not what people probably want, but the talent at this point is just, we're just going to take him and go. Thought about giving him to the Chargers here. I could see them running it back with J.K. Dobbins. I don't know if Harbaugh's going to be interested in making the move for the running back this early, especially when he can get his Michigan man. I think that plays a big part in it. So I'm going to have Ashton Jeanty go to Denver. There's just probably no way he falls this far in the actual draft, but that fit would be awesome. Him and Bo Nix together, along with Cortland Sutton and whatever receiver they get. I wouldn't have minded Emeka Egbuka here either. Broncos fans, let me know what you guys think of getting Ashton Jeanty at pick 22. I think that is a crazy good steal for you guys, man. Moving on to pick 23, we've got Seattle on the clock here. They need offensive linemen. I really do like the fit of Cameron Williams to them. A guy that you can play all over the offensive line. You need a guard and a tackle. He can do either of those. 875 snaps this year, 504 pass block snaps, only 3 sacks allowed, only 14 hurries. That's a minuscule percentage of snaps that he's getting beaten. He's awesome. Great size for the position. Very, very talented player. Baltimore on the clock here. I've got them taking Emeka Egbuka here. I know you took Zay Flowers a couple years ago. And again, I'm just leaning into let's turn a strength into even more of a strength. I thought about corner for them. I thought about Benjamin Morrison a lot. I'm not going to go with Benjamin Morrison here. They took a corner first round last year, Nate Wiggins. Benjamin Morrison's coming off of an injury. Also, he's good size, I suppose. I wouldn't hate that pick, but I'm interested. I would love to watch Lamar Jackson just get all these weapons and just go crazy. His stats this year are insane, by the way. The fact that Josh Allen is like minus 500 to 1, like crazy odds to win the Super Bowl or the MVP. Like he's a shoe-in at this point when Lamar Jackson has better stats across the board is crazy to me. Give him Emeka Egbuka. Watch him go. Houston Texans on the clock here. I didn't have this guy in my first round last time. I have since changed that. I'm going to go Tyler Booker, offensive guard out of Alabama. Fantastic size for the offensive line. Their interior offensive line is the worst in the NFL. You've got to fix it. You have an opportunity to fix it here, taking the top-rated guard in the entire draft class. I think you do it. You're not going to take a running back here. Bring back Joe Mixon. You need a guard. I could have gone Kenneth Grant. I decided to stick with Tyler Booker. Pick 26. Speaking of Benjamin Morrison, this is where I have him going next up to the Packers. Jair Alexander's getting older. That defense is still really solid, though. You've got to think about replacing Jair at some point. Benjamin Morrison has all of those tools, all those upside potential. Let him learn with Jair for a little bit and then come in and be the guy. I think Benjamin Morrison is being slept on a little bit. Pittsburgh, I think this pick's fun. I enjoy making this pick because of the fact that they love these little receivers. Isaiah Bond has not put up the craziest stats this year, but I don't care about your college stats when I'm picking you in the draft. I care about what I see. And on film, on the tape, he is shifty and he gets open. And he fits their size profile. They don't want... Pickens is the big guy, and then they just got a bunch of little fellas. He goes right into the little fellas. I like Isaiah Bond to Pittsburgh. That's, I feel like, a very common one. Minnesota on the clock here. I've got them taking running back Omarion Hampton. I'm pretty sure the Aaron Jones deal was a one-year deal. Omarion Hampton's a monster. Every time I look at these stats, I'm shocked that we don't talk about him more. 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns, 38 catches for 373 yards. He's over 2,000 all-purpose yards this year for a North Carolina team that stinks. Straight up, North Carolina team that stinks. This guy doesn't. This guy's a monster. Great size, 6'1", 220. Bully, an absolute bully. Give him to Kevin O'Connell and watch him go. I love that one. Buffalo, I think, gets one of the steals of the draft here. Why does this always happen? This is a prospect that needs some time still. He's not refined yet, but he's got fantastic size. He can move into that Von Miller type role. You could play him all over the defensive line. A defensive line of Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Shamar Stewart, and A.J. Epinesa is a mean defensive line. That is a mean defensive line that I do not want to play against. I like that pick for them. Upside pick. Let Sean McDermott work his defensive magic on him, and we go. Philadelphia. They need an edge rusher. There's one that I like, and I'm going to put him in the first round until he doesn't go in the first round. I am way higher on Jay. I hope JT Tuimoloau falls this far in the draft and the Dolphins can get him because I think this guy's a beast. I think this guy has all the juice in the world. He's putting up great numbers this year. We're not even talking about him. He is a power rusher. He will get home. He will bully offensive tackles, and he's not that big either. He's just that strong. And he's young, 21 and a half years old. He'll be 22 around draft time. Love JT Tuimoloau. And Philly gets just another stud defensive lineman to get into their stables. They just draft for the future. Could see them wanting a tackle. I just don't like any of the tackles at this spot, truthfully. Pick 31 for the Chiefs here. This one's tough. I want to give them Caleb Johnson, guys. I really want to give them Caleb Johnson. He's been so damn good. He absolutely should be in the first round. But you look at what the Chiefs' issue has been. It's not been running back. Their defensive backs are getting cooked recently. You can get Siobhan Revelle at a discount. This guy is a stud corner. He just doesn't get targeted. He played 204 snaps and was targeted 21 times. The year before that, 650 snaps, targeted 43 times. They don't throw at him because he's a blanket. He's an excellent, excellent coverage corner, and the Chiefs could use someone like him L'Jarius Sneed looks terrible for Tennessee, but that's just because he plays in Tennessee. Let's just call it what it is. Siobhan Revelle would give you another corner to build into that defense right alongside of Trent McDuffie. Big fan of Siobhan Revelle. I think he should go way higher than this, but injuries move him down the board. And last but not least, the Detroit Lions. I've got them going with the other Ohio State edge rusher, captain, Jack Sawyer. I like Jack Sawyer a lot. Look at the grade on PFF, 89.8. Only 5 sacks. Again, I'm looking at the hurries. 26 hurries, 11 hits. He's getting home, just a touch slow, not getting the sack. Great size for the position, 6'5", 260. He seems like he's got some grit to him that I like. And I think Dan Campbell likes it too. And I'm going to give them Jack Sawyer and end my mock draft right there. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Again, I took some swings here like Drew Allar in the first round. I've never seen anybody do that, but I watched him play, and I'm like, I could see it. I could totally see it. So why not take a shot on this one again? This is just for fun. I'm curious. I want to gauge your guys' thoughts on these picks, who you like, who you don't like, who I forgot, how did Ashton Jeanty fall to pick 22? How this guy go that early? Let me know. I love talking about it in the comments with you guys down below. Make sure you're subscribed, as I'll try to make this a weekly thing as best as I can until we get to official mock draft 1.0. Once we have at least the first 20 picks actually set in stone of who's picking where. That's all I've got for you guys on this edition of 2025 NFL mock draft. We'll see you guys in the next one.